Hallo zusammen, mein Name ist Abatog und heute spielen wir das beste Spiel der Welt, StarCraft 2 Visual Novel. Ich bin gespannt, wie Mach sich weiterhin beim VSTL-Turnier schlägt. Gucken wir mal. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That could not have been more stupid. This is what happens in a matchup where scouting past the 3-minute mark is impossible. Kane is fortunate that Zhang Al hesitated. Had he disabled the forward gateway in time, Crash would have been victorious. I aim my attention back at the Crash bench to see who they are sending out next. Axel turns back and whispers to one of his teammates, and he starts heading for the booth. Finally, some ZVP. Better hope that Xing's all-ins aren't as pitiful as yours, stunned. 2 minutes later, the Crash Zerg stands cross-map with the Kane player. The match opens off slowly, but a sudden greedy opening from the Kane Protoss elicits a call for attention from the commentators. Yeah, how bold! The map does not lend itself to a Nexus first, yet he has planted one down without pause. And it seems that it will be going unpunished. With one victory already, it seems that Kane decided now was an appropriate time to take a risk. This spells bad news for Crash. With the Protoss economy established so quickly, Zerg will struggle to survive his powerful mid-game attack. The commentator's warning shows itself to be a well-informed one. The Crash player realizes his disadvantaged position too late. From inside the booth, he looks visibly shaken. Xing marches across the map at the 8-minute mark with an absurd number of blink stalkers, not bothering to clear the watchtower on the way over. His unscouted forward pylon allows him to power forward unchecked. Pew, 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 pew. Laser beams. The Crash Zerg's clumsy defense is painful to watch. The game was decided by the 2-minute mark, even if it took the Protoss another 7 to play it out. That was embarrassing. Not my preferred all-in style, but I will admit that it has its merits. A sudden realization that the 3 out of 4 of us are on camera puts our conversation on pause. The VSL loves to show foreigners and girls in the breaks between our stream forwards ever reason. Raver shields their face in glaze array, while I wave and watch myself on screen with an undeniable awkward expression. The cameraman makes the mistake of panning past us to focus solely on Jet. Not a second later, the scene switches back to the casters. Großartig. Todesstarren des Todes. Finde ich gut. Shane. Ich habe viel Spaß mit dem Spiel. Das ist aber auch ein Blick, den siehst du sonst nur in Dragon Ball, kurz bevor jemand zum Super Saiyajin wird. Mit dem willst du dich nicht anlegen, oder mit ihr in dem Fall. Großartig. Wunderschön. What kind of idiot doesn't drone scout? He went pool first. It was an easy slow ling rally for the win. The map lends itself to a typical Zerg playstyle. He mistakenly believed that if he could defend an early rush from Protoss, he would have an advantage going into the mid-game. I can already taste the extra large bibimbap. I'll take cash, Jet. Quiet. 0 to 2 isn't impossible to come back from. Richtig. But Jet's confidence falters a minute into the third game. The Kane Protoss immediately sends a probe cross-map intent on deciding the game with an early rush. Scout around your natural moron, it takes 2 seconds. And as if he somehow heard the order through his boot's soundproof foam, the Crash Zerg catches sight of the proxy gateway just as they finish constructing. A moment later and the game would have been decided. How will the Zerg react? He responds by throwing down static defenses in his main. A good option, since a pair of stationary spine crawlers are too strong to contest with just a few zealots. The hatchery finished despite the Protoss efforts to force a cancel. It looks like Crash is going to stabilize here. Or would, if not for... No! What are you doing? Stop! Jet takes 2 fistfuls of her own hair when the Zerg uproots a spine crawler and begins moving it down the ramp. Oh nein, der kann sich im Leben nicht wieder einbuddeln. The Protoss reaction is instant. The Kane player rushes in to take a fight with the remaining static defense. Yeah. Even with a handful of Zerglings and a Queen aiding, the Spinecrawler falls with only a single casualty for the Protoss. An unmistakable blunder. He aimed to defend his natural expansion with the second Spinecrawler, but failed to wait until he had enough Zerglings. Such impatience is going to cause Crash the game, and perhaps the series. With a free pickoff, it's not long until the Kane player snowballs his lead into a victory. One of his teammates charges into the booth and claps his back a dozen times, both of them smiling through some banter. It's a stark difference from the Crash bench. All save Axel look ready to accept defeat. With a calm look back at his coach and a nod, he rises to replace his fallen teammate. Was mich ein bisschen stört ist, die spielen ja gerade Team League, so wie ich das verstehe. Warum ist hier nur ein VSL-Logo, kein VSTL-Logo? Naja, da bin ich wieder am Erbsen zählen. Das ist wichtig, bisher sind es 2. 2 Erbsen habe ich gezählt. It seems that Crash will send Axel as their final player. Will he be able to prevent the all-kill from Shing? We must take into account Kane's morale. The momentum in the series certainly favors a forced and final victory. Axel, do not lose! A few of the people seated in front of Jet wince at the volume of her jeer, turn around, stare, and then realize that they were about to shush a VSL champion. By the time she is finished signing a phone case from one of them, Axel is in the booth and ready to go. Think he can bring it back, Reva? No single player on Kane can match Axel. I find myself in agreement with that, but Reva's specific wording and lack of conclusion leaves me wondering. What could be the final match of the day begins now. Axel against Shing, who will emerge victorious? Axel looks at home in the booth. He shows the 4 of us a smile and a thumb up just before the game loads in. Despite the dire position his team is in, Axel wastes no time fighting back for control of the series. He deflects the Kane's player's pressure with a well-positioned marine force at the top of the ramp, killing off a zealot and scaring away a stalker. A vital maneuver, the Protoss now lacks the information on whether or not Axel is expanding. How will he cover his options? Axel cloaked Banshee is nearly complete. The Kane player hesitates a second later, throwing down an expansion. Jet heavens a sigh of relief, confident that the game is decided. Punkt ist, Axel baut halt eine Banshee, eine Flugeinheit, die sich tarnen kann, die der Protoss nur abwehren kann, wenn er entsprechende Anti-Air-Einheiten hat. Wenn er jetzt aber expandiert, hat er für die höchstwahrscheinlich kein Geld. Das bedeutet, es kann gut sein, dass Axel das Spiel damit jetzt gewinnt, wenn er es nicht verhaut. Ich bin gespannt. Ha, Classic Protoss Move. Don't think, gas. Finde ich gut. Ich mag dieses Banter zwischen den Spielern, wenn es um die einzelnen Rassen geht. Finde ich cool. It's true that if Axel had been expanding, the Kane player would have earned a slight edge. Instead, he is forced to watch helplessly as Axel's Banshee flies straight into his base and blasts his worker line to pieces. Das ist die besagte Banshee. Genau das, was ich eben vorausgesagt habe. Net. With a highly delayed and eventually begrudged GG from Kane, Axel puts Crash on the board. Ha! Salty that he didn't get his all kill. Why did the Protoss leave so early? He could have at least gone for a base trade or something. Are you kidding? Terrans have had base trades figured out for almost a year now. God, I wish my gateways could fly. Ja, korrekt. Mit einem Terran auf einen Base Trade zu gehen, ist halt Quatsch in der Regel. I guess. But there's no reason to throw in the towel so early. Even if he was going to lose, he could at least try to wear Axel out for the games to come. Axel could easily bring this back. Das ist ein Punkt, ja. But even with his team's first loss, the Kane coach looks confident. He gestures for one of his youngest players, speaks to him for almost an entire minute and then sends him to the booth. Ah, the Kane coach sends an amateur Terran to face Axel. He must have confidence in either his young talent or remaining two players. We must assume he wants to give the young Terran some experience. Certainly there's no other reason to send him against a strong-ass contender as Axel. Reva watches the Kane coach impassively, never allowing her attention to leave him until the fifth game loads in. Yeah, Kane opens with command center first. It seems that the Kane team has a strong preference to set the pace of the game and force their opponent to react. How will Axel respond? Axel is going to scout it and slow down his own CC. What else? He will out-macro this kid anyway. Reva answers Jet with a nod, though not in a way that makes her seem particularly pleased. As predicted, Axel throughout scout discovers the Kane command center early enough to stay in an economy-focused game. Even with the amateur Terran's slight advantage, Axel claws his way back onto even footing and then claims a lead when he catches a drop en route to his base. The Crash fans roar and cheer when Axel charges his opponent's tank line in a way reminiscent of old Brute War mech battles. Old habits die hard. Even with the game all but decided, the Kane Terran remains until Axel moves forward to destroy his base. Just before offering his GG, the Kane amateur scans to reveal all of the Axel structures. Huh, as I thought. I wince as Jet belts out a ear-shattering cheer and then turn to Reva. What do you mean? Kane will send their Terran ace. Not such a hard guess, really. But even the previously confident Jet watches Kane's bench now. Sure enough, their team's ace pulls himself to his feet, peels off his team jacket and tosses it to a squealing fangirl. Did she just sniff it? I'm going to pretend I didn't see that. Wie ich schon sagte, ne? In Korea sind StarCraft-Spieler halt echt groß, vergleichbar mit Fußballstars. The Crash coach paces back and forth with his hands behind his back. His bench looks far more invested in the series than they did 2 games ago. What a tweet! The highest level of Terran versus Terran is about to unfold before us. I am excited to see how Axel measures up. His TVT has always been his strongest matchup. Jet and River watch restlessly as the game loads up. Even Stunt has stopped cheering against Crash. Ich finde ein bisschen komisch, dass wir nie einen der anderen Spieler sehen. Ich meine, klar, Studioatmosphäre und so, wir sitzen vielleicht was weiter weg. Aber in den Studios, StarCraft-Studios, in denen ich bisher war, in dem einen, das eine Mal, konnte man die Spieler halt sehr gut sehen. Zumindest, also spätestens dann, wenn sie halt gespielt haben. Wobei, nee, die waren auch was weiter weg. Ich nehme alles zurück, wir waren sehr nah an den Castern dran, aber die Spieler waren deutlich weiter weg. Aber als ich dann WCS damals in Köln gesehen habe, als sie noch nicht dort bei den Turtle Studios waren, sondern im Kölner Zentrum in der Halle, da waren die Spielerstände halt mit auf der Bühne, wie man es sonst immer kennt. Also, man könnte problemlos die Spieler einblenden. Darauf will ich hinaus. Aber wisst ihr was? Wir machen an der Stelle einfach nochmal einen Cut und sehen uns dann beim nächsten Mal. Tschüss.